as mentioned, as heretofore mentioned, you came to my attention because of your incredible story that I think is inspiring. When I do a show like this, it's kind of a step away from my usual political debates and politics. It's a chance to really do something that can help people in the literal sense, because I feel like someone watching this program may be inspired by your story and your example, may have some kind of a problem, health wise or whatever, and they'll realize that they can do something about it. They can get help, and they can save a life. I mean, many, many years ago, I had a doctor on the show that talked about this new treatment for prostate cancer. And there was some guy listening who said, hey, I have some of those symptoms. And he went and got checked, and sure enough, he had prostate cancer. He was treated, and he was saved. So I felt like, oh, that was incredible. I saved a life in a way, indirectly, simply by offering a platform. So I always feel good about doing these kinds of shows. And your story is one of those stories that can really inspire someone to deal with adversity. So why don't we go right to it, Rob? Talk a little bit about your story, what happened, and let's bring us up to date.
When I was 17, I had a benign tumor that needed to be in my brain that needed to be removed, and they removed it. But the benign tumor was deep in my brain, so it took a long time to get the tumor out.
Mhm.
Well, on the last piece, when he sectioned it out, it was on pushing against a vein, a vessel, and when he removed it, he ruptured the vessel, and I bled 1.5 liters of blood.
Mhm.
Uh, uh, that's a lot of blood in the brain,
Yes.
and they put me into induced coma, and in a week I fully woke up, and I didn't have any feeling on my right side. I couldn't talk. I couldn't understand people, comprehend people. I couldn't ask questions. Uh, when the doctor came in, he said that you are paralyzed and you have aphasia. Aphasia, I have no idea what aphasia was, but since I've been living with it, I know what aphasia is. At that time, when I woke up, I had global aphasia. That is the most severe type of aphasia, and I needed to have a lot of rehabilitation help, and I went to this rehabilitation hospital in Wheaton, Illinois, for 2 months, inpatient, and that was a big help. And when I got released, I was a outpatient at that hospital, and I kept working at my recovery. So about 4 months after my surgery, I was able to walk with a limp, a big limp, lift my arm up, speak in small sentences,
Mhm.
but my memory wasn't tested, but I knew that was a big impact on me. And but uh, the next fall, I went to high school again because of my family's support and encouragement, and I got my diploma, and then I went on to get my associate's degree, and that took me a long time, but I got my my associates, and then I went to Illinois State University,
Hmm.
and things changed for the better. I made more friends. Uh, I exercised more. I I had a speech pathology student help me with my language, uh, and that helped a lot. I mean,
Yeah, I mean it's incredible. Now this happened when you were how old, and how old are you now, Rob?
I'm 42.
Hmm.
This happened when I was 17, but I was diagnosed when I was with a benign tumor when I was 11.
Okay.
But they made a big error.
Yes.
They said that they diagnosed me with a tumor when I was 11, and each 4 months I had a MRI. Well, it didn't grow. It was like a little pea-size uh, benign tumor, and uh, my doctor said that it doesn't look like it's growing, so you can have what you wanted. I wanted metal braces on,
Hmm.
so I had them, those braces, and I still each 4 months I had a MRI, and uh, looking at those MRIs with my metal braces on, you can't see the benign tumor. And
Rob, I understand that at this time you were, as a high school student, you were an athlete. You were popular in school. You were good academically. Um, I wonder if it was really necessary for you to have that surgery, and I wonder if today they probably would not recommend that. They might even be able to have removed it through just simple, you know, radiation, and not even any kind of invasive removal. Who knows?
maybe, maybe
Okay.
uh, uh, with today's technology, maybe they could. Maybe I could just have radiation, and
Exactly.
but you have to ask the neurologist that.
Understood. Now, what was it like going back to school after having had this terrible surgery?
Hard. I
Were,
mean,
were your friends friendly to you, or did your relationships change?
I had so many friends. If a bunch of them doesn't talk to me, that's
Mhm.
fine because I knew I had uh, close friends anyways,
Good, good.
and that's uh, that helps
And your
me a
family
lot.
was very supportive and loving.
Yes, big time.
So you had like a good infrastructure, and you felt confident enough to kind of relearn and forge forward, because today you're like you're recovered. I mean, it's an incredible thing to see. What were some of the I don't know, the mental or emotional methodologies that you use to help yourself recover, to learn how to speak again, to learn how to walk again, to learn how to read and write, to the point where you're able to get a college degree, and today you have a very good job in the state of Illinois?
I guess when I was a little kid, I looked up to my dad, and when he was a kid, he didn't have a dad. I mean, uh, I don't want to get emotional about my dad, but he went to he wrestled in high school and he got his athletic scholarship to a Big Ten school, and he won the Big Ten championship in wrestling,
Mm-hmm.
and he kept pushing himself so he can get better physical, emotional, and mental.
Good. Well, I mean, you had a very inspiring mentor in your father, somebody who knew how to. Anybody who's in athletics knows how to deal with adversity. That's what it's all about, and how to achieve in that situation, how to push yourself. What are your strengths and weaknesses? So you've obviously learned, I think, over the years to compensate, to figure out strategies in terms of how to advance, given the disability that you've had. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, it's a great story. I mean, I don't have anything that I mean, particular that I can relate to. Yeah, I mean, in that, I mean, I suppose it's a minor thing, but I tore my meniscus years ago, and they wanted to have surgery on my knee, and I was like, not so fast. I want to see if I can exercise and heal it, and so I did. I joined a gym, and I did like Nautilus, and I did treadmill, and then eventually, yeah, 3 or 4 or 5 times a week. But after 3 or 4 months, it was pretty much healed. Not totally, but I mean, 95%. And I'm not going to run any marathons, and I'm not going to, I'm careful. You kind of, when you have an injury, you learn how to compensate. You don't do everything the way you did before because you're aware of the fact that you have a potential weakness. And so I imagine that your process is much more severe, obviously, but you learn to compensate. Like you mentioned to me that you have some short-term memory loss, even to this day. How do you compensate for that? How do you deal with a situation so that you can remember the things you need to remember in the short term?
I got notes, uh,
Okay,
like little notes.
sure. All right, like a
Uh,
stick-it note, right?
yeah, basically. Like I didn't want to miss me talking to you today,
Good.
and I got notes by my bed, on the table, by my my keys. So uh, I'll be sitting down at this table talking to you.
That's
So
amazing. So you can refresh your memory anytime you want by looking at your system of notes.
yes.
Yeah, I mean, people develop these schedule means. I mean, I've never been that good at it. I mean, I was watching a documentary the other day about scheduling, and it said that there's a scheduling method called the Eisenhower Method. It's based on President Eisenhower, who would divide a page up every day into 4 pieces: um, urgent and important, urgent and unimportant, unimportant, important but not urgent and not important. And he would put everything he had to do that day in one of these 4 boxes. And that way he could organize his day and go through each one based on its priority. So, yeah, it's just one way to go about it, but we all develop our methods of trying to think through our day and how to organize it in a way that we can get the most out of it and not forget things.
Nice.
Right. So, so Rob, what can you talk a little bit to my listeners and viewers about how they can overcome similar catastrophic problems, because you've obviously done this and this is your story. So
Confidence. Basically, main point is I need confidence, and I got that from my friends, and that I got back to the women relationships because of my confidence. They, my friends, are awesome.
do you believe in
So,
God?
oh yes, yes, big time.
There's a
Uh,
spiritual component to it.
Actually, I'm a volunteer to my relations group. So
Okay, because I mean
each
all these things come into play, I would imagine.
usually I go each Sunday. So, but
Excellent. That's great. And what do you do if you feel a little bit depressed or you feel like you're having a down feeling? Because I'd imagine that in this process, you must have had some rather dark moments where you didn't feel, that you wanted to, you didn't feel strong enough.
I just look at like I should have died on that operating table. So I mean, all the stuff I do now is a gift from God. I mean, I'm not
Hmm.
going to go off and commit suicide. I mean, I got my family who loves me so much, and I wouldn't want them to uh, be
Good,
down because I gave up on my life.
good. No, that's amazing. When you were in college, you had trouble with math and some of those issues, which might have had something to do with the brain damage, perhaps. What did you
Yes.
do to overcome that?
uh, I took like say I have one class one semester. Would have to take that class another semester because
Hmm.
I got like an F. But I didn't get an F because I got a W with the draw. But uh, I need to uh, study big time on math.
Did the
So
college give you like extra help for having a
yes,
disability?
yes. The disability office they gave me uh, testing time. I got like extended testing time. I got uh, good tutors. Uh,
Good.
all the stuff I needed to get my associates and bachelor's and master's degrees.
Amazing. So you have a master's degree in communication, right?
No, I have that. My bachelor's, I got communication, but my master's, I got human services.
No, those are the exact skills that you were trying to develop since you were 17 years old, the ability to communicate. And you actually, it's interesting that you went to, in a way, college for you is almost like a trade school because you had to learn to communicate and you were mastering in communication or that majoring in it, which meant that as you learned, you were applying those skills every time you learn them. I mean, that's an amazing and very specific use of a college education. It's one that makes the most out of it. Now, what are you doing now, Rob?
Uh, Now I'm sitting in my home,
What
not going to my job.
and what's your
But
job?
I'm a communication analysis in the Illinois state representatives.
Wonderful.
What?
No, that's great.
And I also a video legislative session. So
So you have to go over to Springfield as part of your work and do video.
yes,
That's amazing. That's cool. So you get to see what's going on in the government right when it
yes.
happens. That's exciting. What do you think of Governor Pritzker?
I'll take the Fifth Amendment.
Okay, I don't blame you. You're you don't want to mess with that because there might be someone else. Um, Rob, when is your book coming out?
Actually, it did come out. It came out about a few months ago, but I haven't been able to promote it, and but I'm telling people about it. My neighbors, I sold them my book, so
Well,
that's a plus.
let's promote it right now. What is the name of the book and where can people get it?
My fight for recovery. The subtitle is a story of overcoming life-threatening brain surgery.
Hmm. And how can people buy it?
Uh, well, you can go to my book site, and uh, you can go to Amazon,
Okay,
Barnes and Noble.
excellent. I'll put a link up to it on this YouTube, so to give you an extra little link. So let's just wrap up by you giving a couple of further thoughts on the book and your story and where you are right now.
Um, I, I can share my stories of my accomplishments that
Please.
you will enjoy when you read the book.
Right. You don't want to give too much. Yeah, you don't want to give away the store here.
Well,
Um,
uh, give me a second.
yeah,
Hold
sure.
on. Um, uh, I got my I work out 5 to 6 times a week to make make my body as good as it can get.
Hmm.
I keep on talking to many people each day, so I can communicate better and better again. And I love doing this. I love giving speeches, uh, and and I can go on and on.
Well, you know, you're obviously a good public speaker, and that in and of itself is an amazing thing. So, anyways, listen, I congratulate you for coming out with this book, and you know, I look forward to reading it, and I urge other people to get it as well. So,
Thank you.
thank you, Rob.